I'm doing great. I can't complain. I had my last procedure a couple weeks ago. They are done here in New York. Dr. Okai, Devin Okai, has done such a great job. And as we all well know, every once in a while you'll put your foot in your mouth. Well, literally, they put my fibula bone is now my whole upper jaw. So they took my whole bone out, broke it into 4 pieces, and attached it there, 12-hour surgery. And I'm still here, thank God. I mean, I'm a very blessed man because I travel the country speaking to people, and I realize I don't have it that bad, and I'm just blessed to be here talking to you guys.
All right. You're such an incredible inspiration, and thank you for being here. And we've been following your story, obviously, through your entire fight, and it's remarkable. Let's talk a little football.
I love it.
Let's talk a little football because there hasn't been this much excitement for a quarterback in Buffalo, maybe since Jim Kelly was under center for the Bills. You've had a chance to check out what's going on up there. What can we expect from Josh Allen in year number 2?
Pray that he stays healthy. When you are that good of an athlete at times, and a lot of quarterbacks are like that. I mean, when you got the running ability, you can do things with your legs. You tend to want to do that to make a big play. And I think near the end of the season last year, you started getting it that I need to be on the field and not on the sideline watching. And I've spent some time with him in the offseason. I think he really realizes what it takes. And what a great kid. And the athletic ability he has, but the arm strength. Yeah. I know people compare, okay, who's stronger, all the quarterbacks from nowadays. I saw him throw some darts. I'm excited. And I'm not just saying it because in the past, we'd all have to back our team, and say, all good things. But this guy makes me excited. And if the offensive line stays healthy, I think, of course you need the receivers now, as we all know, but I think they're going to have a good year, and they're going to fight Tom Brady till the end.
They got it, right?
Oh, boy, I'm tired of that. But you know what? Tom's a very good friend of mine, and God bless him because he supports my foundation. Yeah. He sends me jerseys, everything. We're auctioning off this year. We already did. Auction off his game-worn shoes, and Tom's still the king, and until we knock him off his throne, we have to go through the Patriots.
That's awesome. I think I heard a couple tables break in Buffalo from here. Right. When you said that, Bills Mafia, they're all in.
Wackadoodles. Yes. They are. I mean, you watch some of the things that they do. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Why would you? I know some of them, and media, Instagram and Facebook, they want to show themselves on there, but do something positive, not crazy things like that. But it is what it is. And I, as a former Bills player, I love watching it, but sometimes I'm like, oh, don't do that.
Well, you said Josh Allen throwing darts. When Jim Kelly says you're throwing darts, you're doing something right. But and I'm sure you have a bunch of great advice for him. But you also had some great advice for the coaching staff, right? Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, they sat down and met with you back in June. Right, to go over the K-gun offense?
A couple of times.
What were you able to share with them about your offense, and what are they trying to replicate?
I think the thing that we talked about is I enjoyed, doing it with Coach Dable and, of course, Ken Dorsey from the U. Just talking to those guys about situational offense, like when it's 3rd down, 3 to 5. Don't always try to throw the ball downfield. You need that first down, especially late in the game when it's a 4th quarter and it's even though there's 10, 12 minutes to go in the game. Realize when you can take that chance. Realize when you need to get that first down to continue to move the ball down the field. Nowadays, sometimes young quarterbacks tend to make the big play too many times instead of taking what they give you. And I think that's the biggest advice. But from our situation with what we used to do is give it to the guys who can make the play, the guys with the quickness, the speed. Give it to them earlier and let them run with it, make the big plays. That's what it's about. I mean, that's what we used to do. And, once you get outside the pocket, and I try to tell receivers all the time, if Josh gets outside the pocket, that's when the big plays happen. That's when people are not ready for that. And make that play. Let those guys run and break tackles and make the big play. Andre Reed, one of the best run-after-catch guys in the league, he knew what to do. He knew how to do it. And I knew to get it to him quick, let him make his play, let him be the Hall of Famer as the wide receiver. And he was.
Well said. Jim, we're just drinking in some Don B.
So
much Don
It goes down easy. Listen, when Peter was introducing you, he mentioned the class of 83, and off camera you kind of did like a fist pump. I can tell you're proud of it. It's regarded as the greatest quarterback class ever. You and Danny and John, and Tony Eason from Illinois, Ken O'Brien. It's the greatest by far. There's a class right now that's starting to get some chatter. 2017 quarterback class. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Mitchell Trubisky. It's a great group. Do you see greatness in the future for them? What do you think of these guys?
Yeah, I do. And when I did the fist pump, this question was brought to me a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, about Ben Roethlisberger, Philip Rivers, that group of quarterbacks. Eli, I love him. They started talking about that, and I said, you know what? Everybody always says it at the beginning. Second year, they're like, what do you think? I go, give them 4 or 5 more years, and I'll let you know then. Because right now, you have to be able to, number one, protect yourself. But this year's class, it's not the ones coming in now, but like a Patrick Mahomes, these guys got some talent. And also, guys, you can't touch them.
Here we go. You know this is coming.
Come on.
But that's the best thing in the world. You know why? Because if it's your quarterback, you're going to get mad if somebody hits him a little late. Oh, what are you doing? You don't hear so much anymore. The people, and you still will from defensive guys that think, well, we can't hit him. But if it's your quarterback, you don't want people to touch him. And the thing is, I was just talking to Matt Millen yesterday.
Okay.
And he remembers a playoff game, and the thing is, they knew that if they hit me hard, that all they're doing was ticking me off. But the thing is, Joe Klecko even told me last year when I did an appearance, he said, when we hit you, we wanted to make you part of the turf. We were allowed to see how far I can bury him in that cement underneath that AstroTurf.
Ouch.
And that's the way it was back then. If you got a free shot at a quarterback, you take it, because it wasn't like, nowadays you just nick them and, you're getting a penalty. So I love it. I love watching. I probably would have played 3 or 4 more years if those rules were in effect back then, but they weren't. But that's why I'm still here, because I have to keep fighting through all these issues.
Jim, would you like to stay maybe through the break?
Can we get you one more segment?
I'd love to get your thoughts on Antonio Brown.
Let's do it.
I'd love to read we're celebrating the 100th year of the NFL. No better person to run
the man right here.
Bringing the extra helmets
than the great Jim Kelly. Much more Good Morning Football ahead. We'll, of course, have all of your headlines and your highlights and more with our Hall of Fame guest next.
Attention military service members. If you or a loved one used dual-sided combat arms earplugs during duty between 2003 and 2015 and then suffered from tinnitus, ringing in ears, partial or total hearing loss, ruptured eardrum, you may be entitled to financial compensation. These earplugs expose thousands of U.S. military service members to damaging levels of sound. Learn more about your legal options. Call
Hey, what's up, JK? 12.
We were talking 1983 draft class. You've been around the NFL and around football most of your life. So I have to ask you about 2019 and what's been going on with Antonio Brown and this fiasco and saga, from the cryotherapy and the feet to the being MIA at camp to filing a grievance about his helmet to now also, again, yesterday not being at practice. And then Raiders GM Mike Mayock came out and said that Brown needs to be all in or all out. What do you make of this whole thing?
100% agree with. To be honest with you, I get tired of hearing it. I know the people I'm around are sick and tired of it too. It's just not AB. It's other guys that I think they're more interested in how many people will look at their Instagram, their Facebook, their Twitter account. After a while, it's like, come on, enough about you. How about get to camp and do what you have to do? Wear the helmet everybody else wears. Yeah, you have to feel safe and you have to feel comfortable with it, but to a point where it's not all about you all the time. And just the last year and a half, when I see something come on about any of those guys, I just flip the channel. I'm tired of it, and I just want to see football. I want to see the guys that, like Mike said, the guys that are in there busting their butt during training camp, those guys are probably getting tired of it. They can't say that. And most of them won't say that they're tired of it, but I guarantee you in the locker room it's something like, come on, guys, let's go. Let's move on.
We got to stop talking about it or Jim's going to flip the channel.
No, but powerful stuff.
Oh, don't worry, guys. I already have. I did it this morning.
At what point does Derek Carr come out and say something? No, you can watch me anytime you want. Does Derek Carr come out and say something ever? As the quarterback, as the leader of that team, you got to get in here. Should he speak?
Maybe more behind the scenes.
Okay.
Maybe a phone call to him. I don't think, today's society with social media, it makes it so hard on everybody, from the player to the coaches. You got to watch what you say. I mean, point blank. I mean, good example, my nephew on social media. That hurt him. Even though he was being a kid some of the times, other times, it was a, thing that just went in his brain. But the thing about it is, you have to mostly do it behind scenes. If that doesn't work, give it to somebody else to do it. But the quarterback has to be somebody that has to talk to him and say, guys, come on, get back in, because it's hurting all of us, not just you. It's hurting all of us, especially quarterback receivers.
No doubt.
You've got to get that timing down.
No
Real
doubt.
quickly, you mentioned Chad Kelly, who's your nephew, who's having an outstanding camp for the Colts.
Yes,
He
he
plays
is.
for Frank Reich, your
Yeah.
former backup. Really quickly, if the audience doesn't know at home, how proud are you for Chad, and do you think he's got a shot here in making the squad and maybe doing something?
I hope so. Yeah, I'm very proud of him. I spent time with him this year, working out with him, doing a lot of talking. He understands some of the decisions he made that were mistakes, and this is probably his last chance. Nobody ever questioned his ability on the field. He can play football, and I think Frank's realizing that now. I think a lot of people are. I just hope that he gets the opportunity to come back and get another chance, and not only for him, but for my brother Kevin, who's been behind him all the time, and of course his wife. But the thing is, we pray that he gets that opportunity again, which he got. Thank God that Frank Reich's the coach, because I think mentally he will help Chad. But he's having a great camp, and I just hope it's with Frank and the Colts.
It's awesome.
Your backup up in Buffalo back in '86. Wild how NFL is truly a family, and it all comes full circle.
Yep.
So good luck to Chad Kelly. We are so glad that you're here today and feeling better, Jim. Come back
Thank you, guys.
anytime.
I love
Good.
it. Love you guys.
Love you, man.
Much more Good Morning Football ahead. We've got Bears highlights to get to.
highlights.
A kicker situation.
Yep.
We'll also get to see Sean McVay. Like, few get to see him on the sideline mic'd up. It was pretty awesome.
This is great.
Little coach camp.